There's a new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll that was just released. I want to show this to you. So the red here is people who think Trump is better on the issue. The blue, people who think Biden is better on the issue. So when it comes to cutting unemployment, Trump edges Biden 48% to, what does that say, 35%? I'm a little far away from the screen here. Dealing with the economy, Trump 48%, Biden 37%. So he's got advantages here. Dealing with China, 43% for Trump, 40% for Biden. Now, here's where everything flips and goes pro-Biden. There's way more areas where people are pro-Biden now than pro-Trump. Being competent and effective, 47% for Biden, 38% for Trump. Representing change, 41% for Biden, 37% for Trump. Dealing with the coronavirus, 48% for Biden, 37% for Trump. Ending gridlock, 40% for Biden, 35% for Trump. Dealing with healthcare, 49% for Biden, 34% for Trump. Everybody's bleeding their health insurance now. Everybody's losing it, and that's reflected in those numbers there. Addressing the concerns of the African-American community, 49% for Biden, 30% for Trump. Addressing the concerns of the Latino community, 50% for Biden, 26% for Trump. Having the ability to bring the country together, 51% for Biden, 26% for Trump. Even his own supporters are like, well, he can't do that. Dealing with issues of concern to women, 46% for Biden, 25% for Trump. Now, that's the little appetizer that I gave you there. Those are the specific issues. There's only 3 areas where Trump beats Biden and Biden beats Trump in the rest of them. But really, this is the sign that I think is totally devastating for him. So they say 8 in 10 Americans say the country is, quote, out of control. 80% of Americans say the country is out of control. Only 15% say it's under control. So that means even some of Trump's most hardcore supporters are like, well, obviously everything's out of control right now. Okay, that is, I think, a really, really devastating fact for Trump. Because what we saw in the primary is that there was this urge of people to get back to normal. And just the Democratic voters just wanted to find somebody who they thought was more electable. And so Biden was like the default on that front. Well, if 80% of the country is saying everything's out of control right now, and people have the urge to get things back to normal, that ain't a good sign for Trump, man. Now, I saved the craziest one for last here. So here's what they say, quote, among voters living in the top 2020 battleground states, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, Biden's combined lead over Trump is 8 points, 50% to 42%. So in the states that decide the election, Biden has an 8-point lead. Now, listen, in the 2016 election, Hillary nationally had a 2 to 4 point lead, nationally. But when you broke it down state by state, Trump was hanging in there pretty well in the swing states. If Hillary had any lead at all in the polls in the swing states moving into election day, it was 2 or 3 points. Now we're talking about Biden with an 8-point lead in the swing states which decide the election. Trump is in big trouble, bro. Now, the area where he still is trouncing Biden is enthusiasm among supporters. So, in other words, Trump people can't wait to vote for Trump again. They love Trump. And basically, the people who are going to support Biden are just tolerating him. But listen, at a certain point, there's just too much chaos, too much mayhem, and people say anything but this. And so when you have a pandemic, when you have an economic depression, when you have complete civil unrest and an unsteady hand at leadership, I think Trump is a hell of a lot more vulnerable now than he was in 2016. And remember, in 2016, I was the guy who was sounding the alarm and saying Hillary could definitely lose to Trump because he was campaigning in a much better way and sounded much more populist, and she was making all the wrong arguments, and I saw that he could definitely win. This time, I think Biden at this point is a pretty clear favorite. I think he's 65% chance to win, maybe even as high as 70% right now. Now, again, I want to caution everybody, it's all subject to change. So what I say today is only valid for like a week. And then we come back in a week, we look at the numbers, and we have a new evaluation. But, yeah, you get the sense that with everything going on in the country, it's just too much. There's just too much happening. There's too much going on. It's too much chaos. It's too much mayhem. And people are just like, get me to a place where I don't have to think about it again all the time. A lot of people are really, really scared out there, really nervous, and you can't blame them. Look at what's going on. So 80% think the country is, quote, out of control. That does not look good for Donald Trump. But again, I'll update you in a little bit as to the state of the race. But as of right now, if Biden just keeps doing what I keep telling him to do, which is, hey, bro, go sit on your couch. Go watch, what should I go with this time? Every time I talk about what Biden should watch reruns of, I switch it. So I said Brady Bunch one time. I said Golden Girls one time. I said I Love Lucy one time. I'm going with those super old shows. Let's go a little bit newer, but still kind of old. Just go watch some King of Queens, bro. Go watch some, some Kevin James, King of Queens. I don't know why I'm wasting time babbling about the kind of show Biden could watch, but that's all he's got to do. Eat some ice cream, sit back, watch some TV, and be in your bathrobe. That's it. That's all you got to do, and let Trump just keep, making a fool of himself, because I'm not kidding when I say that dynamic of like outsider populist bomb thrower, that's a very, very strong way to run a campaign when times are relatively normal. But when you have an economic crisis, or not an economic crisis, when you have national crises of a variety of different types, there is something that people look for that's a more steady, calming hand of leadership. And Trump is definitely not that. That populist bomb thrower attitude in 2016 was exactly right for the country at the time. But now I think people want more of a steady hand of leadership. And I'm not saying Biden is a steady hand of leadership, but I'm saying he gives off that appearance a lot more than Trump does. So I think Biden's a clear favorite at this point, and the more stuff rolls in, the worse it looks for Trump.